LA Knight hasn't been on WWE television in weeks, but everything WWE is doing right now says one thing loud and clear. His return is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And that moment might be happening sooner than anyone expected. Stick with me, because once you see the pattern, it becomes obvious. LA Knight disappeared from WWE Raw in early December, written off television in one of the most brutal angles we've seen all year. He lost to Logan Paul in the main event, then things got worse fast. The Vision swarmed him. Bronson Reed finished the job with a tsunami that looked designed to erase Knight from TV entirely. And it worked. For weeks, nothing. No backstage segments, no follow-up, no updates on commentary. WWE went quiet, which is usually intentional. When WWE wants fans to forget someone, they fade them out slowly. When they want fans to miss someone, they remove them completely. LA Knight clearly falls into the second category. Knight's absence hasn't cooled him off. It's done the opposite. Crowds are still reacting to his name. Social media hasn't moved on. Merchandise is still selling. That tells WWE something important. The audience is ready when he comes back. Now let's talk about why the timing suddenly matters. Here's where things get interesting. According to Fightful Select, LA Knight was scheduled to travel with the WWE roster heading to Germany for WWE Raw in Dusseldorf on January 12th. This matters more than people realize. WWE does not fly talent overseas just to sit backstage. International travel costs money, planning, and logistics. If you're not needed, you don't go. Especially this close to Royal Rumble season. Nothing has been officially announced. That's important. WWE wants the surprise. But historically, when a top star is quietly added to international travel plans, it almost always means they're about to be used. This wasn't just a random rumor floating around fan circles. Sean Ross Sapp himself added fuel to the fire, publicly noting that LA Knight was scheduled to travel to Germany the same week WWE Raw was set to air live from Dusseldorf. He made it clear that no appearance was confirmed, but he also didn't dismiss the idea. And when journalists phrase things carefully like that, it usually means WWE hasn't finalized the segment, but the wheels are already turning. Let's talk patterns. When WWE writes someone off with a violent angle, they usually bring them back in one of three ways: a surprise run-in, a post-match attack, or a stare-down that sets up the next feud. Germany is the perfect setting for any of those. International crowds are loud. WWE knows that. They love debut moments overseas because the reactions feel bigger and more organic. That's why so many surprise returns happen outside the US. If LA Knight walks out in Germany, that building will erupt. This isn't happening in a vacuum. Royal Rumble season is where WWE resets momentum. New pushes begin, old stories pivot, wrestlers who were drifting suddenly find direction. Knight returning now makes sense for one big reason. He doesn't need weeks to get over, he's already over. That gives WWE flexibility. They can drop him straight into a feud, a major angle, or even a Royal Rumble spotlight moment without rebuilding him from scratch. The most obvious route is unfinished business. Bronson Reed is active. Austin Theory is active. The Vision is still a threat. Knight returning during their tag match would be classic WWE storytelling. He doesn't need to say a word. One punch, one stare, one BFT, the crowd does the rest. That instantly reestablishes him as dangerous and gives him a clear target. There's also quiet buzz about Knight aligning with CM Punk. This wouldn't be a long-term tag team, but a temporary overlap. Punk is already scheduled for a live segment on the Germany Raw. WWE loves weaving stories together during international shows. Knight backing Punk during a confrontation would instantly elevate him back into the main event conversation. It also keeps Knight away from mid-card purgatory, which has always been the concern with him. Here's another key detail people aren't talking about enough. Fightful Select, via WrestleVotes Radio, also reported that LA Knight is listed internally for Royal Rumble week in Saudi Arabia. That's not random. WWE plans those weeks months in advance. If Knight were still hurt or on ice, he wouldn't be penciled in internally at all. This strongly suggests his absence was strategic, not medical. So why keep him off TV for over a month? Because anticipation is currency. Knight was everywhere in 2024. Crowd reactions, big matches, big losses. WWE likely wanted fans to miss him again, and judging by the reaction online, it worked. A return now feels bigger than if he'd just stayed on TV losing matches. Another layer here is presentation. WWE is adjusting how Raw feels on Netflix. International episodes are becoming tentpole shows, bigger cards, more star power. Adding LA Knight to a loaded Germany Raw that already includes Gunther, AJ Styles, and Punk makes sense. It turns a strong show into a must-watch show. Here's what to rule out. They're not bringing Knight back quietly in a backstage interview. They're not easing him in with a short promo. They're not ignoring the December beatdown. WWE made that angle violent for a reason. The return needs to match that energy. If Knight returns this week, it positions him perfectly for the Royal Rumble. A strong showing, a meaningful elimination, or even being protected late in the match. WWE doesn't have to push him to the moon immediately. They just have to remind everyone why he matters. And right now, the audience is ready to believe again. Nothing is officially confirmed. That part matters. But WWE patterns don't lie. Travel plans, internal listings, Royal Rumble timing, international television. All signs point to LA Knight being back in the spotlight very soon. The only real question left is how WWE chooses to pull the trigger. So let me ask you this. Do you think LA Knight returns on WWE Raw in Germany, or does WWE save him for the Royal Rumble itself? And when he comes back, who should he target first? Comment down below.